introduce our person tonight who's going to be running the training. So Lemon Price is one of our ambassadors here at Girl Power Alliance, and she's crushing it, y'all. And she is going to dive in on the top two. Actually, I don't want to misquote this. The top 2 success strategies to have multiple enrollments per day on your team. I know she's been getting blown up by all of you. How are you doing it? How are you doing it? What's going on? What's going on? And so when I hear things like that, people want to know, what are you doing? I'm like, let's address it in a training. Let's record it. Let's put it in the back office. Let's get in there, right? Instead of Lemon, there's 30 plus people on this call. Instead of her, I'm sure she would love to connect with each and every one of you, but I'm just going to give a little bit of background on Lemon. So Lemon has 11 years marketing experience, a former CMO, Chief Marketing Officer for a fintech company, did 8 figures in sales in 10 months, a master's in marketing, ran multiple 6-figure marketing agency before leaving to do ministry full-time. And she's almost finished with her master's in apologetics, divinity apologetics. Is that it, right? Did I say that right? So, yeah. Okay, perfect. I was like, I want to make sure that I'm saying this correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and put the spotlight on you, Lemon, and take it away. I'm super excited for this training.
Oh my gosh, thanks, friends. I said to poor Ferris yesterday, I'm like, I feel like it's the week of Lemon. So anyway, really excited to be here with you, friends. We're going to pull all the marketing hats out. So grab like a notebook, paper, whatever, take some notes on your phone, because we're just going to talk marketing strategy tonight for the next like 20 minutes or so. So the very first thing that I have done, and I told Molly, I gave Molly like a preview of what we were talking about tonight, is who are you as a leader? Who are you as a leader? And I know Molly did some like leadership, she did that pop-up yesterday, but you and Sam did some social media training last week, but who are you as a leader? There is, it's so important to figure out how it is that you show up on social media, how you show up for your team, how it is that, like, just how it is that you show up. So I feel like, and Ferris did some training on it today too, because we've been talking about this a lot, but you've got to figure out what your voice is on social media, right? Nobody wants like a carbon copy of your upline. Nobody wants a carbon copy of like Molly or Michelle, because if they did, they would just be on their social media, right? So and they're great. They have great social media, but you've got to figure out what makes you, what is your unique perspective? What are you bringing to the table? And I know we talked about this last night on the accountability call, right? 1 Peter 4:10. I'm going to like stick with this theme that I've had all week, is we have a unique gift, a unique design, a unique calling on our lives. And so we have a unique perspective. And so how are you leaning into that unique perspective? How are you using that as a leader? And so what is it that you're doing on social media? And you don't have to, and I want to like dispel this rumor, you do not have to write these like big prophetic novels on social media for people to be attracted to your social media content, right? That is not a thing either. I had a post do really well, and all I said was, if you want to hear from God, you have to get to know him. And I posted, it was a 1-sentence thing. It did really well. So you don't have to like pour your heart out, right? I feel like Molly does really well with these like very long, very like deep, meaningful messages. But like, what is God teaching you? What is God showing you? And right, you don't have to be Molly. You don't have to be Lemon. You don't have to be Katie. Katie, you're right in front of my face, so I'm picking on you, Katie. But like, you don't have to be Katie. You don't have to be Molly. You don't have to be Lemon. You just have to be yourself. And that's what people are attracted to. I know Molly has said this so many times. People do not want these like megaphone messages. They just want authenticity, and they want to see you showing up as a leader. And part of owning that leadership too. So a post that did really well for me, really, really well for me, is I talked about what it's like to sign on with my team inside of Girl Power Alliance. And I said, here's exactly what's going to happen. Step 1, you're going to get this, this, and this. Step 2, you get this, this, and this. Step 3, step 4, step 5. And I walked people through exactly what that process looks like. People signed on, people signed on, people signed on. Like within like 2 days. It wasn't a long like process. They're not even, I mean, they're not even in like the main group, and people signed on because they knew exactly what they were getting. They knew exactly what leadership they were getting, and they were attracted to it. And they were like, okay, yep, I'm signing on for this. And so you have to just lean into who you are as a leader, because your team is counting on you to take them to the place that they want to go. So lean into that leadership, because that's what's going to attract them, and that's what's going to keep your team working hard. That's going to keep your team encouraged. That's what's going to keep your team motivated. That's what's going to keep your team excited. That's what's going to keep them just wanting to show up and be around you, right? Like, so define that leadership style. Take some lead. I know there's right. Go to Radiant Leadership Academy. If you don't know what your leadership style is, go to RLA. Work on your leadership skills, right? But figure out who you are as a leader and show up as that leader on social media for your team, with other members inside of GPA. Like, show up as whatever type of leader it is that you want to be, because people will be attracted to it. And the people who are not attracted to it will be repelled by it, right? Because we want the people to be repelled by it who are not a good fit for our team, who are not going to jive with the discipleship that we're creating on our team, right? I talked about this last night, right? Your business is discipleship. And so if they're not a good fit for the discipleship that you're bringing, you want them to be repelled by it. So that's the first thing, right? So who are you as a leader? Lean into that and show up as that leader. The next thing is follow up. Okay. How often are you following up? Are you afraid of being rejected? And I think way too often we take it very personally when people reject us. And they're not necessarily rejecting you, right? They're not saying, I loathe Katie. Katie, again, I'm going to pick on you because your face is literally right in front of me. But they're not rejecting Katie. They're not, Kimberly, you're right in front of me too. Like, they're not rejecting you, right? It could be that they don't have enough belief in themselves, right? There's people that have joined me, and they're like, I'm so thankful for the amount of follow-up that you did. Because if you hadn't, I wouldn't be here. If you hadn't followed up, I wouldn't have the transformation that I have. And so, but they rejected me at first. There's people that have absolutely shot me down at first. 100% absolutely shot me down. There are people that shot me down 3 months ago. And I've continued just having conversation with them. Just continue having conversation. They're seeing my posts. They're seeing how much I love it here. And then they reached out to me this week, and they're like, hey, guess what? I really love actually what's happening. I'm seeing the transformation. I love that you keep talking about how great it is every time we talk and everything. And so I actually want to sign up. Can we schedule something, because I want to know more. Thank you for continuing to follow up. And so do not be afraid of the rejection, because it might just be a not right now. It might be I haven't seen how great this is yet. It might be, there's a million reasons. It might be that I don't believe in myself enough, right? I've had that conversation with people. I don't believe in myself enough. And that's where, again, your leadership comes in. Do you believe in them more than they believe in themselves? Because sometimes you have to believe in them more than they believe in themselves. And so that's a big hurdle we have to overcome in our follow-up process. And so, I mean, I know I've had to have that conversation. I'm sure many of you have had to have that conversation where we've had to be big believers for somebody else. And then I'm going to hit you with a third one. I'm going to hit you with like a third thing that has helped me with multiple enrollments in a day. I know we said two, but I'm going to hit you with a third, a little sneaky one. How connected are you? Like, how connected are you to this community? How plugged in are you? How many connections are you making? How involved are you in the training? How often are you talking about it? Like, how plugged in are you to this community? That's a big one. Because here's the thing. So I'm going to be like super frank about this. It took me a solid like 5 weeks to get it. Solid 5 weeks to get it. And because I'm brand new to network marketing, I didn't understand it. Like, had no idea. I told Molly, how many times did I tell you? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't 92, like 952 times I said to Molly, I have no clue what I'm doing. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand the comp plan. I don't understand anything that I'm doing. And she was like, yes, you do. You're being ridiculous. You do understand. But I had to get completely plugged in. I had to like spend a lot of time with the comp plan. I had to spend a lot of time taking the courses. I had to spend a lot of time getting to know women in the community. I mean, I had to pour myself in to really get it. And now I cry on live streams on a regular basis, and I'm not a crying person. Now I am. Now I'm a crying person. And people are attracted to it because it's real and it's honest, and they can see the real transformation. And that's what attracts people. And so you have to be plugged in, you have to be connected. And so I want to ask you, like, how often are you signing into your account and taking courses? How often are you talking about those courses that you're taking? How often are you partnering with somebody in here who's on your team or not a part of your team? Right? Natalie and I just did that 3-day sneak peek event. Natalie and I do not benefit from one another in any way, shape, or form financially, other than I just really like Natalie. Not that I don't like other people, but like, you know what I mean? So you've got to be plugged in, right? Like, you've got to be plugged in. And so the more plugged in and connected that you get, the more authentic it feels. The more people can feel that and they want to be a part of it, because that's what has attracted people to coming to hang out with me. Is I'm radically honest. Like, I'm just like, listen, this is the transformation I've had because I'm here every single day. I've put my own ministry work on the back burner a little bit because I'm like, I spend a lot of time here. This is where I spend a majority of my time right now because I believe so much in what is happening here inside of GPA. And I love the women here inside of GPA, and I love the mission here inside of GPA that much. And so the people around me can feel it because I'm connected and I'm plugged in. And so how connected and plugged in are you? Because the more plugged in you are, the more it will authentically radiate off of you, and the more people will want to come and work with you. And Molly, I love it here, I'm biased. Maybe a little bit, maybe like a smidgen. And so that's what I have for you guys. You guys figure out who you are as a leader and show up authentically as a leader, right? And figure out what that means for your team and your social media, right? There's things I do for my team that, you guys may not do for your team, right? Figure out what it is that you do for your team as a leader and show up as a leader on social media. Do the follow-up, right? Even if it's a no right now, like, do the follow-up, and then get plugged in and connected. Like, make the connections and talk to people. Like, network and talk to people. Network and be friends with everybody. Like, make authentic and genuine real connections with everybody. And get, like, really plug into the community. Talk about it on your social media because it's crucial. I think it's absolutely crucial. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. Like, that's how the team grew that fast, my friends.
I love it. And one other thing that I want to add on there is that what was standing out specifically and why I asked Lemon to come on here is number one, she was telling me she was getting a lot of people asking. Number two, we are obviously seeing it on our end, seeing like things coming through. But the third piece is the excitement. Are you talking with these people with such excitement that you're just like, oh my gosh, like you have to be here? People want to be a part of something that's exciting, that's growing, that's moving. Like there's a lot of hopelessness out there, but guess what we get to be? We get to be the hope. We get to be the hope and we get to be the hands and feet. We get to be the lighthouse and the Holy Spirit's the light and it's shining out. We get to be excited about that. And some days you may not feel like it, right? Some days you're like, not really sure. It's been kind of rough. But think about the hope that you get to be for other people. Ask yourself this question. When people look at you, do they see hope? Do you see hope in you? If the answer is no, then how can you fix that? How can you change that? If the answer is yes, awesome. Be excited. People want to be around people that are excited. And I know Lemon is always excited. She is always excited. I have people ask me, isn't Lemon like, do you Lemon talk a lot? Like Lemon's always in my DMs being like, check out this, or I got this going on, or can I get you on this call? I'm like, da-da-da-da. Like she is excited and she is blowing up my messages.
All day.
Guess what? That can be all of you. Okay. And I'll make sure there's enough Molly to go around. But at the end of the day, like excitement is going to get people to move. So, Natalie has her hand up. Natalie, I'm going to take myself off spotlight. I'm going to add you in here. So then you can go ahead and ask.
Well, not to take over for Lemon, but I just wanted to echo what she was saying. And I was just having this conversation with another ambassador because one, like plugging in, it's going to help you translate, right? Your authenticity of being able to share and communicate what it is we have here. But also, I think I've had so many conversations with women who are like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've been looking for, or this is what I've been wanting, or I felt this way, same way too. And so there's like this also like having this conviction, you guys, that you're a part of something pretty amazing that a lot of other women like want or have been looking for. And it's kind of like a missing piece to the puzzle that they've been having. And so they can bring this alongside of whatever they're already doing. And it's getting them the leadership training that they need, or it's getting them like the bringing that gap of like they were missing that faith piece, or just needing that community to plug into so that they felt supported. And so having that conviction of like, you need to be sharing this, more, and you don't have to be like, on top of people, but just like authentically, like she was saying, sharing it consistently in your stories, reminding people, using that social proof, like Lemon's bringing on people. I'm taking the photo and I'm then copy and pasting like what a little blurb about that person and adding that to my story. So women can also see what type of women are coming here, who are the women that it's actually women from all over, and how cool is that? So I think, and being mindful of like, if you haven't done, like Lemon's not done network marketing before, but I was telling you on the calls, like you're doing it, like what you're doing is doing network marketing. But remembering too, like, even though we don't necessarily go out there and be like, look at this network marketing company, that type of thing, but knowing that because this is how we're getting paid here, you guys, you are on the ground floor of a network marketing company. And incredible things we know are still coming. And we have Michelle and Molly and Ferris and Thais like leading us. So the vision is huge here. And you're here at the very beginning with an opportunity to really like have a stake here and grow something beautiful. So I think don't put necessarily like this timeline on yourself, but also know that you're in this really sweet spot and like use that to your advantage. And there's all these other people being like, look at my company and this product, and you get to share amazing resources. You don't have to worry about somebody, getting their order for this or taking this correctly or any of that. You get to just come here and share Christ and share how you can offer help and value to someone. So not to take over, Lemon, but you were just saying all these things. I'm like, yes. And just conversations I've been having with women. I think, yeah, like I'm going to your page and I'm like, okay, what was that post you made? And I'm going to save it and then like use something very similar. So thank you for sharing, Lemon.
Yeah, friend. Well, and that's something we talked about last night too. So if you guys were on the call last night, we talked about Compassion is conviction in action. And so having compassion for the women you're talking to is your conviction in action. Compassion always follows an action, right? Compassion in the Bible is always compassion, and it is never a stagnant situation. And so have compassion for the women that you're talking to. If this is a conviction on your heart, and it should be, right? We're all here. If this is a conviction, then go out and share it like it's a conviction. Compassion, and I hope that like that's your takeaway. Like that's like your challenge this week. Compassion, and what is your and this week? What are you doing with that compassion and conviction? How are you showing up? Are you a leader that you would want to follow? Like that's like I'll like do an audit of your social media and stuff. Like ask yourself, like, would I follow myself? Would I be inspired by my content? If I was like scrolling, would I be inspired? Would I want to take action? Would I want to do something with this? Would this be compassion, and would it inspire me to do something? If not, change it. Compassion, and that's your like a homework this week that I'm going to give you guys is compassion, and it's like my theme all week. Like, man, I'm telling you, First Peter's been like, Ferris knows. I was like talking about it all day yesterday. First Peter is like, go study First Peter, my friends.
I love it. So good. Anybody else have any questions for Lemon or anything? Go ahead and type them in the chat. Lemon, you're incredible. This is great. I love that compassion, and because Jesus was full of compassion, right? I've been studying a lot of really going through scripture and looking at all the verses where Jesus got away to pray. And there's times where he got away to pray, like thinking of feeding of the 5,000, right? He wanted to get away to pray, but he had compassion. People were there. They were hungry. What did he do? Abundance came out of that, right? He had compassion on them. He always had compassion. He always put people above themselves. And sometimes that can be hard, especially, in today's climate. But when you do that and people genuinely feel that compassion, and I love that. That is so good. So good.
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Look at you inspiring people getting to First Peter. I love that.
Yeah. I showed them my First Peter. I don't know, Ma, because you weren't there last night. My First Peter looks crazy right now because I was all in it last week. Like my whole First Peter is like, it's just blue. It's just all hot. It's blue. It's so good. But yeah, every time you see in the Bible, right? It's Jesus had compassion, and he prayed, compassion, and he healed, compassion, and compassion, and so what are we doing? How are we taking action? How are we showing up, right? If you know that your friend desperately needs this, compassion and follow up. Compassion and pray for your friend. Compassion and inspire her. Compassion and show up in leadership for her. Compassion and disciple her. It's compassion. Compassion is conviction in action.
Love it.
That's why I got you for you, friends. Like, I'm like hot today. I've had I had a whole pot of coffee today, friends. I'm like ready to go.
I love
We're
it.
gonna give a whole sermon.
Thank you so much. This is absolutely incredible. Like we just love you so much. So we appreciate you coming on here and sharing. This has been just amazing. Amazing. I love it. And what I love about these trainings here is that it's not just like, okay, like here's what you can do in your business. Do you see the thread of weaving in scripture, weaving in the partnering with the Holy Spirit and absolutely everything that we do? It's not a phrase that we just say, we actually do it. And how Natalie said, there's women out there that are looking for this. I know Natalie's had quite a few enrollments on her team of women in other companies, other places that are like, this is the missing link. And I'm hearing their voice messages and I can feel the thirst through the phone that they've been wanting this for so long. And I'm like, ooh, Lord, you are so good. You're doing something amazing. So before we wrap it up here tonight, Ferris wanted to jump on here and just say a few closing remarks. So Ferris, I'm going to bring you up here and then we'll close it out.
Hello, ladies. How amazing was that? I feel like I was holding on to every word Lemon was saying, and I wanted to share something with all of you. Is when GPA broke ground in 2020, I would say for the first 3 to 4 months, and Natalie's a witness to this for sure, and Molly as well, we had maybe 20, 30 people inside of the community. And every day we just kept going. Every day we posted in the group. Every time there was a Monday call, we did a prayer call, even if nobody showed up. Every time we posted the content, every time we posted the video, if we felt something on our heart, we posted it. And if you go back into the group and you see, and you scroll all the way down, you'll see that there's stuff. We don't stop just because we're let down, or just because we don't feel good, or just because we don't want to, or because something is happening in our lives that is out of our control. We do this because God has called us to do this, to impact people's lives and to inspire women, because it's women's time. It's your Esther season. You hear us say it all the time. So I just wanted to share that with you, that if you feel discouraged right now because maybe your team isn't growing, maybe you feel discouraged because you don't have a member on your team, or maybe it's not growing as fast as you like. Think about when GPA started in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic and we only had 30 people in our group. We could have stopped. We could have stopped and said, it's not working. It's not working. There's not enough people. They're not coming in fast enough. And now look at us. We're almost at 2,000 women inside of this group. Like, I literally have chills because it just happened. And I want to scream because of the fact that I'm just so grateful that we didn't stop. And just like I said on the opportunity call, pray without ceasing. We did that. We're continuing to do that because we believe this is going to be bigger than what we can even fathom, because God's plans are so much greater than our own. So I encourage you, and I know I've been saying this like all week, encourage, but it's literally the theme. I encourage you, don't stop. Keep going and do it messy. Even if one post doesn't work, but the next one does, and one reel works and the other one doesn't, and one video you messed up and the other one doesn't, keep going, because there's going to be, those people are going to come. They're going to come and they're going to see it, and they're going to see it from you because we kept going, because we believe that all of you would be here. So.
Beautiful. I absolutely love that. And I just also want to give like another shout out to Ferris, because as it's been a crazy week, she Ferris is telling me to stop. I'm not stopping, and this is recorded. We celebrate everyone over here, okay? If you don't like celebration, this is the wrong group for you. Let me tell you. I'll tell you that right now. But we're so grateful for you, Ferris. I mean, I know you've been getting a ton of messages and you've really been helping out. She says, okay, bye. But we're just so grateful. Like, this is a God-ordained team. Everyone that's here is on here, on purpose, for a purpose. And so we're super excited. And I love the fact that there's more people on here, even that they were on the opportunity call. People are just like, ooh, like they feel like they're like, I want whatever that is. So if you're brand new here, I just want to give this small little tidbit. If you're brand new here, if you're an ambassador, when you go inside the ambassador group, check out guide number 1. It's going to get you the getting started. And then from there, connect with the person who brought you in here. We're going to cast a big vision as to what can you create here. Because you can get inspired by these women. You can be like, I'm ready to go, but let's actually set up the steps. The reason why Lemon is on here is because she set up steps. She's put in the work. There's a lot of women on here that put in the work. Natalie, so many women have put in the work here. And it's like, you have to be able to be intentional. So when you go inside the ambassador group, you can be intentional. You can check out the getting started video of where you need to go. Or maybe you're on here, you're brand new, or maybe you haven't even plugged in yet. If you have not plugged in yet and you're still listening to this call, you do yourself a favor, reach out to the person who brought you on this call, because you're here for a reason. And you're probably waiting for that perfect moment. It won't be perfect, but I will tell you, this is the season to partner with women, to partner with the Holy Spirit, because the world needs us to unite. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So I love that Ferris said, we're at 30 people. Now we're almost to 2,000, and we're still just getting started. This is still technically pre-launch. And once we go to activate, that's the official launch. And there's a lot of amazing things that are happening in Brazil. We cannot wait to tell you guys, but it's just like God is doing some big things. So get excited, and you're pioneering this. Get excited. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for jumping on. We just love what God is doing here. Go inside of the main group and post a video of your biggest takeaway from this training. You know, like share what's going on, or share it on your social media, share it on your story. People want to know. They are looking. And I'm going to share this one little tidbit. When you get on and share a video, ladies, there's a study out there. And right now it's anywhere between 6 and 7 hours people are spending watching videos daily, online, daily. Why not yours? Why not your content? Why not your video? If they're watching 6 to 7 hours, that's almost like a whole workday. That's crazy. Why not yours? And then if they start feeling that genuine, like, okay, there's something real here, they're going to stay and they're going to want more. Why? Because God's present. The Holy Spirit's here. Their spirit is connecting with yours and they want more. So just keep showing up. Compassion. And I love that. All right, ladies, we'll have a great rest of your night. I'm excited for just the rest of the week and all the things. If you need anything, reach out, but we will see you on the next call. Bye, everyone.